What's up guys, Rogue9 here. In relatively recent seasons, we've seen the extended barrel introduced to a number of new weapons including Maverick's M4, Mozzie's P10 RONI, and now Mira and Goyo's Vector 45 ACP. In addition to this, many of the existing weapons that allow the use of the extended barrel have had damage nerfs and buffs since I last explored this particular attachment, so the questions I will be answering in this video are: is the extended barrel a useful attachment for any of the new guns since my latest test? Has anything significantly changed for the existing weapons? Which weapons does the extended barrel add the most value to, and which ones get almost no benefit at all? As always, I've run some tests, crunched the numbers, and drawn some evidence-based conclusions. Extended barrel, yay or nay? Let's go and find out. First up, let me tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends, the free-to-play mobile game that came out just earlier this year. I've been playing this game on my Galaxy S6. Yeah, it's a very old phone, and one of the most surprising things is how well this game manages to run with 3D graphics on such an old device. I would describe Raid as a JRPG style game with turn-based combat where strategic thinking is key to victory, and it all starts out with picking the best team for the job. Currently, my favorite champions are from the Orc faction. Galek's Hellraiser ability is really useful, and overall, I just really like the look of the Orcs. There's a lot of depth to this game and a lot of longevity, with a substantial roadmap of new content already laid out. The almost 320,000 players who have reviewed the game on Google Play so far have given it an average rating of 4.5 out of 5 stars, and the Apple App Store rating is 4.8 out of 5 stars. If you use the link in the description below, you will receive a new player bonus of 50,000 silver and a free epic level champion. So go ahead and give the game a go, it's free after all. And with that, let's get back to the extended barrel. When discussing the extended barrel, let me first make sure that we're all on the same page by quickly going over some of the basics. If you start to notice that you already know all of this, there will be a pinned comment below with timestamps to the relevant parts of the video. As you may know, the extended barrel's only purpose in Rainbow Six Siege is to provide the full damage over a longer distance range, which offers you more options in terms of positioning to take down your opponents. At least, that's what the in-game menu tells us. But not only is this description a bit vague, I also think that it is somewhat misleading, because what the extended barrel actually does is that it flattens out the damage drop-off curve for each weapon that it is attached to. For example, as you can see here, Jaeger's 416C carbine will normally do 43 points of damage with body shots against level 1 armor opponents up to 25 meters distance, and then we have a linear decline down to 21 damage at 35 meters plus. Once you attach the extended barrel, the minimum damage at long range is elevated to 32 points per shot, but as you can see, the close range damage and the inflection points in the drop-off curve remain unchanged. So that is the benefit of the extended barrel in a nutshell: flatter drop-off and more damage at long range. Okay, that doesn't sound too bad really. Are there any downsides to this attachment? Well, good news everyone, the extended barrel does in fact not have any active disadvantages. The only way in which the stats are modified is more damage and nothing else. But before we all start celebrating, there are a number of what I could call passive disadvantages. First of all, there's the opportunity cost of missing out on any of the other muzzle attachments. Most of the guns, with the exception of Frost's 9mm C1, have access to an array of other muzzle devices that all come with different types of recoil benefits. If you want to know exactly how each of the other attachments affects your gun's recoil patterns, I have a really good video on this topic, and you can find a link to that in the end card of this video or in the info card at the top right hand of your screen now. And then not only do you miss out on the reduced recoil when you attach the extended barrel, but, and this might not surprise you, the extended barrel changes the profile of your gun significantly, and the additional length that it adds can, in some situations, give away your position if you're hiding behind cover or trying to sneak around a corner. Okay, so a few disadvantages after all, but I guess if the damage buff to any of the guns is high enough, this attachment may still be worth considering. Let's go and take a look at the damage stats now. Here is an overview of the damage stat boost for each of the guns that can attach the extended barrel, with the exception of Ella's FO12 shotgun. I've covered that separately in a past video, and you can find a link to that at the end too if you like. As you can see, the additional damage added to each gun by the extended barrel varies widely. Some only get a max boost of 11 to 13%, while others get a 50% increase or even more. At first glance, this inconsistency may seem confusing and completely random, but I do believe that I may have come up with a theory on why the range of additional damage is so diverse. But before we get to that, let's quickly take a look at some of the new guns that have been added and what the wondrous extended barrel can do for them. Maverick's M4 gets a 22.2% damage increase at 35 meters plus, which is just below the average of all of the other guns combined, so that looks fair enough at first glance. Here's the issue though. 33 damage means that 3 hits will leave a level 1 armor opponent with 1 HP remaining, and so the number of shots to down or kill that enemy remains at 4. Not taking bullet penetration, leg shots, or previous damage into account, that means that the extended barrel actually offers very little benefit at all to Maverick and his M4, at least against level 1 armor defenders. For the other 2 newer guns in the game to have access to the extended barrel, namely Mira's Vector 45 and Mozzie's P10 RONI, the damage boost at range is similarly small to mediocre just like the M4's, but at least here there seems to be somewhat of a positive impact. 15 damage is abysmal and will require 7 hits to a level 1 armor opponent, and even though 17 is not all that much better, it will at least mean 1 less bullet to down or kill. And the same goes for the P10. Usually you would need 6 solid upper body hits at 27 meters or more, and with the extended barrel it is only 5. And this leads us very nicely to my theory as to why the damage boost is so inconsistent across all of the different guns. It appears that in almost all cases, the damage boost was specifically chosen in order to reduce the number of required body shots to down a full health level 1 armor opponent by 1 less shot than it would normally take without the extended barrel. This rule applies pretty consistently across all of the weapons with the exception of the M4 as already mentioned, and also Caveira's M12 SMG. For some reason, the 14% damage boost to this gun is just short of where it would need to be in order to reduce the shots to down or kill by the standard 1 hit. This inconsistency for the M12 also extends to level 2 armor opponents, and is not until you come up against full health level 3 armor opponents that Caveira actually gets any benefit at all from the extended barrel. And since there are only 3 level 3 armor attackers in the game, Fuse, Gridlock and Monty, the conclusion for the M12 is that the extended barrel has basically no benefit at all apart from when you're taking down opponents that have already been damaged beforehand, or maybe when shooting through walls at long range or hitting the legs. If we compare all of the other guns' required shots to down or kill against level 2 and 3 armor targets as well, we can see that for the most part the results remain fairly consistent, with usually 1 less bullet required to get the job done. There are some exceptions though, such as Jaeger's 416C, which benefits by 2 hits against level 2 armors and by 3 hits against level 3s. Buck's C8 also benefits a bit more against level 3 armor defenders, and there are more occasions where guns don't benefit at all against certain armor types, for example Blackbeard's Mark 17 and the SMG 11. But all in all, the most common benefit has quite successfully been calibrated to needing 1 less body shot for almost all weapons against almost all opponents, and that's at least something, right? Well, actually, it's not really something. In fact, it's really not something at all. The fundamental problem with the extended barrel remains the same as always. With all of the weapons, you won't start to really see any consistent benefit until you're fighting at 27, 28 or even more meters distance, and that has 2 separate issues. First of all, you're giving up the added recoil control that you would normally have with a different muzzle attachment, and with the added recoil at a distance of 30 meters, it will start to become rather challenging to hit your target consistently, so the 1 bullet you save on average could actually be cancelled out by the fact that you end up missing more shots than usual. But the absolute nail in the coffin for the extended barrel, both for the existing weapons of the past and the more recently added ones, is that Siege is just an incredibly close-quartered, fast-paced game. There are very few opportunities on any of the maps where you can actually fight an opponent at more than 10 to 15 meters max, and putting up with higher recoil and a longer barrel that could potentially give away your position in the wrong situation just isn't worth the pitiful damage gain you get at ridiculously long ranges. So as much as I was hoping for some revelation here, some unannounced update, or at least something about the new guns that would finally make the extended barrel worth using, the sad fact is that it is still the most pointless attachment in the game. In most situations, whether on attack or defense, you simply don't get any use out of the extended barrel at all, and the disadvantages, as passive as they may be, are just not worth putting up with for such a small payoff. In conclusion, if you were excited about the extended barrel going onto the Vector, or maybe you have thought about using it on the P10 RONI or the M4, yeah, don't. But that's just my personal opinion. What are your thoughts? Do you ever use the extended barrel, or do you avoid it like the plague? Go ahead and vote in the poll by clicking in the top right hand corner of your screen now, or feel free to elaborate on your thoughts in the comments section below. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. And that's it. As always, many thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next episode.